Hi, this is Simon from writtenlegalenglish.com. At the beginning of the week, I asked you to have a look at two provisions containing those horrible, ambiguous terms and/or, think about them and redraft them, and think about the legal problems that could be caused by the use of and or. And these are the two sentences I asked you to look at, so let's quickly recap. For additional information, visit our website and or call our helpline. Some of the statutes and regulations enforced by the US Department of Labour require that notices be provided to employees and or posted in the workplace. So let's have a look through them. For the first one, this is just lazy drafting. If you remember the video on Monday, I said that judges have said that when lawyers use and or, they don't know what they're talking about or they're just being lazy. This is a perfect example of that lazy drafting. Of course, the message is visit our website or call our helpline. Do one of those two things if you need additional information. Then you don't need to say and or. It serves no purpose. It's just being lazy. In fact, it's a weird kind of laziness because you have to write more words or more letters than you just have to write for just saying or. So this is just habitual, lawyerly laziness in legal writing. No need to use and or at all. Simply just say or. Perfect example of lazy drafting. The second one, however, is a little bit more interesting. Some of the statutes and regulations enforced by the US Department of Labour require that notices be provided to employees and or posted in the workplace. Now this introduces some ambiguity. Is it and? In other words, both of these things have got to be done. Is it or that one of these things has got to be done? And then you've got to think about it from the point of view of that person who's required to do this and the people who are subject to this, because of course those are two different points of view. Because the person who's required to do this provided the notices to the employees, but they didn't post them in the workplace because this is how they understood the sentence. But of course that might not be what this provision intended. Similarly, that person who's required to do something might say, okay, well, I put them up in the workplaces, didn't have to give them to the employees. And then the employees would say, well, to be honest, we wanted them. There's no point putting them in the workplace because, for example, it might be in a place where some employees never go. So then how would they know about this? So this use of and or in the middle of in the middle of an obligation which affects parties, creates this sense of ambiguity. So how can we redraft this? Well, the first thing to say is, what does this mean? Well, the answer is we don't know. Because of the ambiguity in the text, it's impossible for us to know based on this. If we had wider context, if we could contact the author, if we could have some background, maybe it would be clear. But just having a look at this at face value, it's impossible to say what the intended message is. So let's have a look at what possible redrafts we could have in order to resolve the problem, but not necessarily communicate the actual intended message because we don't know what it is. Could it be that this require the notices be both provided to employees and posted in the workplace? Well, that's certainly a lot clearer, and it sets out that the notices have got to be provided to the employees and posted in the workplaces. So we're in effect covering all of our bases. Employees get the information is in the workplace as well. That's one possible clear redraft. Another redraft is require that the notices be either provided to employees or posted in the workplace. Now, at face value, you might think, well, that's okay, but it's still quite ambiguous. This idea of be either provided to employees or posted in the workplace doesn't clearly establish the requirements of one of the parties, just to do this or to do this. It's a little bit wishy-washy and not very exact. Another redraft could be require that the notices be provided to employees if, and then we've got some conditions, otherwise the notices be posted in the workplace. And that could take into account the situation where you have lots of employees. Employees are employed in different areas, Some employees might not be able to get to the workplace where that information is displayed. And so by having a list of conditions, what you're doing is you're saying these employees get it directly because they're not in the workplace or there are some other conditions. Otherwise, everyone who is in the main place of work has got to go to the, I don't know, the canteen or the staff room to have a look at that information. So we could redraft it in that way. So in our redrafts, we definitely have some better redrafts. The first one and the third one are clearly more precise. The second one, either provided to this or to this, is a little bit wishy-washy and still can be questioned, but it's still better than just saying and or. So the lesson I want you to take away from this is that and or is ambiguous. When you see and or, ask yourself, just as the judge criticised in, as I said in Monday's video, what are you really trying to say? And then redraft it in that way. Okay, if you've got any questions about this, then please leave them in the questions below. If you want to find out more about how to improve your legal drafting, then visit my website writtenlegalenglish.com, and of course take advantage of my free legal English exercises as well. You'll find links to everything below this video.